we refresh on our phones, there will be about a 15-second lag. So we are live now, but people can only see our placeholder. So we'll be starting in a minute. And so what we need to do, Julie, is if you look on your phone, keep refreshing, and then in just a minute, you'll see that we are live, and then you'll need to turn the volume down.
I've got the volume off at the moment. Here we go.
Okay, all right, we're now live, and we need to put the volume all the way down, because otherwise you're going to hear the echo from the phone as well. So now you can see us, we're here, we are now live, and I can see that there are 3, 4, 6. We can see there are people starting to tune in now, all right, and 7. So that's lovely. So anybody who is already tuning in and watching this LinkedIn Live, please type in the comments where you're listening from, because we would love to know, and we'll be showing our faces in just a few moments. Okay, so you're ready to go, ready to rock and roll, Julie?
I think so. I just hope I can work all this phone thing. So if I miss a comment, you'll have to let me know.
Okay, what we'll find is Guy Thornycroft is here. How lovely. He's just said good morning, ladies. So if you keep scrolling through, you'll see that the comments will come. So let's show our faces and say hello to everybody this morning. Okay, and so here we are on LinkedIn Live. Oh, Eve Levine is here as well. Thank you so much. And Guy is watching from the Central Coast, and Eve is in Sydney. So really lovely to have you here, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm here with the very, very talented and beautiful Julie Hyne, who is a certified image professional and executive stylist based in Melbourne. And we'll be doing some introductions at the minute. But this is part of my Time for Global Connection series of LinkedIn Lives, because during the coronavirus outbreak, of course, so many of us are working from home, and we still need to continue to keep our personal brand, our professional image and reputation out there, because when the coronavirus is over, you'll be able to hit the ground running, whether you're a job seeker or you're rebuilding your business if you've had to wind down a little bit. But we're here to help you to discuss all the different ways that you can actually stay front of mind. Right, Julie?
Oh, absolutely. It's never been more important to think about yourself and think about how you're presenting online and what that looks like to the person on the other side of the computer screen.
Yeah, that's right. And you are an expert at this, being an image consultant, and a very talented one, because you help to style people and ensure that they always put their best foot forward in person and now online as well. And as a branding specialist and career management coach, I also help people with this. So let's do a little bit of an introduction so people know who we are. So how about, Julie, let me get your name up here. There we go. And so how about tell us who you are, Julie?
Well, I have been running my business for probably over 17 years, Jane, now, and was trained all that time ago to be an image professional, and have worked with so many different people, worked with not-for-profit, celebrities, but mostly now it's senior executive women. So, but I think even now at this point in time that it's really important for most people to think about their online presence. As image professionals, we picked up on this several years ago, that the whole world was starting to do a lot more business online, particularly from between countries, and that the whole way you present needed a new strategy. It was a different strategy. It's not the same as being face-to-face. So it's really amazing that this whole situation has been really just dumped right in our laps. And so people are now thinking, well, goodness, how do I do this? How do I cope with working online? How do I have my executive team meeting? How do I have my board meeting? Am I being interviewed for a new position? And that's going to be online. So that, well, what am I supposed to wear? How do I present myself? So this is where our expertise can come in and help people, just to give them a few simple tips to make it easy and help them feel comfortable when they're in front of a computer and all they're seeing is that little green light at the top of their laptop or their PC or whatever, and they can't see the other person technically. They can't really judge and unravel what's going on in their minds as you can in a face-to-face meeting. So it's important. It's really important.
Oh, it is, because it's the way you present yourself as well as what people see too. So I'll just do a brief introduction for me, and thank you so much, Julie, for joining me on this LinkedIn Live, because it's such an honor to have you with me. It's very exciting. So I'm Jane Jackson. Well, most of you know me anyway. I'm a career management coach and a personal branding specialist. So I thought teaming up with Julie Hyne, who as I mentioned before is based in Melbourne, would be good, because being part of the time for global connection, let's connect across the nation as well as across the world as well. And I know that there'll be lots of people who are watching at the moment from all over the place. We've got Di Erdmanis. I just want to say hello to a few people. Janelle Andrews, hello. And Deborah, hello. Nice to have you here as well. Do type in, wherever you're from in Australia or in the world. But now more than ever, it really is important to understand how to leverage technology. I've been delivering coaching, one-on-one coaching and group coaching for about 5 years using video technology, and I love Zoom. Zoom is fantastic. We're broadcasting LinkedIn Live via StreamYard, which is an excellent third-party platform for LinkedIn Live, and we're actually concurrently broadcasting to my Facebook business page if you want to hop over there. And it's, if you look for Jane Career Coach in Facebook, that's my Facebook business page, will be there as well if you prefer Facebook, but I really love LinkedIn. So what we want to do today is to give you some very important tips from Julie as an image consultant as how you can best present yourself as the total professional, especially if you are going to be interviewed during this time when we're working from home, because there are ways that people sometimes think, oh, just because I'm from home, I can really dress down. But no, there are things that you need to do, and I'll leave that to Julie to tell everybody. But then when it comes to the technical side of how you actually present the environment that you're in, that's what I'd like to explain to you as well. Okay. And if you've got any questions at all, please pop it in the chat box and we will answer. Julie, if you refresh on your phone, you'll be able to see all of the comments that are coming through. Charles Fairley has just joined us. So hi, Charles, nice to have you with us as well. So we're getting quite a crowd here. So ask us anything you like. If anyone happens to be watching the replay after the live event and you're commenting, please put #replay so that we know that it's the replay that you're watching. Okay. And so, Julie, how about over to you? Because what I'd like is to find out, when it comes to presenting yourself online via Zoom, via StreamYard, via whatever platform that you might be using, and a lot of companies are using Microsoft Teams, which I learned the other day. What are the most important things to be thinking about?
I think, well, to start with, think about what is the purpose of the meeting. Who are you meeting with? What's the message that you want to get across to people? And no different to if you were going into a face-to-face meeting, thinking about presenting yourself in a way which is going to allow your message to come through. So when you're online, Jane, you're probably aware, and we were laughing about this the other day, is that it picks up all of the little things that you wouldn't ordinarily pick up when you're in front of someone face-to-face. So any imperfections on your clothes, any little stains, anything that's just slightly askew will be magnified when you're online. So if you still want to be able to come across as being the credible, confident professional that you are, if that's what that particular meeting or scenario is all about, then think about how you're dressing. Think about what it looks like from the waist up. But I also encourage that you dress for work anyway. If you're going to your desk to be performing a day's work and you're going to be having a whole series of Zoom meetings or Skype sessions or Microsoft Office meetings, or whatever it might be, then dress as though you are going to be meeting those people across the boardroom table or in the office, because it affects you personally. It affects your mindset if you're not dressed for work. The minute you start to dress down and be more relaxed in terms of how you would normally dress on a weekend, for example, your mind tends to fall into that little zone as well, and it can affect your performance. So maintain your appearance. And there's all sorts of things you should be thinking about too, Jane. It's not just the background, and I can see you've got a beautiful background that you've managed to upload into this particular platform. I don't have those settings here to be able to do that. So all you're seeing is my office wall, which is not too bad. But
Actually, it's good because it's plain and it's not too distracting. There are lots of tips and tricks, and I'll show you a few changes a little bit later as well.
it's thinking about then, okay, well, am I wearing the right clothes for this particular meeting? What's the message I want to be putting across? And then it's about the colour. So thinking about what colours you're going to wear and whether you're wearing just things that are distracting to the person on the other side of the screen. So things like stripes. We've all watched TV at some point where someone comes on and they're wearing, quite a heavily striped garment or with a lot of pattern in it. And, the TV sort of goes all skew with and you can't look at it properly. It's the same thing when you're online. So plain colours are better, or very subtle patterns that are not going to cause the screen to go all over the place. And wearing colours that actually resonate with you, that are your best personal colours. Blues and greens work particularly well on screen. Jane, you're looking absolutely lovely in your white jacket this morning.
This is me. It's almost like this is pretty standard for me. I'm very black and white. I love color, but most of the time it's just what people remember. So I just stick to what I find is a good branding look for myself, because I tend to look very corporate. But the colors are important, aren't they, Julie? Like your color now with your skin tone is beautiful. It really enhances you. So, for example, because this is a bit of fun now, I'm a qualified image consultant as well, but I want your opinion because you're the specialist in this area, is what are the best colors for men and for women if they're going to be presenting in an interview?
Well, Jane, look, the most trustworthy of all colours is navy blue, without a doubt. So irrespective of whether you're sitting on the warm side of the spectrum or the cool side of the spectrum, there is a navy blue that will meet your needs. And then it's about contrasted colour. So wearing medium contrast, and a lot of people say, well, what does that mean? A medium contrast is actually what I've got, and it's between the colour of your skin and the colour of the garment you're wearing. So it's, if you're wearing something that's very low in contrast, that you can tend to disappear into the background. And that's all too about what background you've got. So I've worn this colour today on purpose. Because I know blue translates very well through a camera lens, but also because my background is white or low white. So I wanted to create that medium contrast. You've got a medium contrast too, but if I was wearing, say, a soft white or a cream against my background, the chances are I could potentially disappear or not be as effective in the way I communicate my message online. So people would be looking harder at me than if they are now, because I'm wearing the colour, which actually allows them to say, oh, there she is, she's wearing blue. And I can, oh, you've just changed the background.
I'm trying to be more corporate now. I thought I'd just have a little bit of a play around with things while you're speaking. Just to see. But it's different. It's different with the previous background. There was more contrast, so you noticed me more. Yes.
Absolutely. Now we can work with contrast in different ways, because for guys sometimes they might say, well, I've just got a white shirt, so how do I work with that? Well, they might put a tie, they might put a different coloured jacket on over the top. And for women, we can do all sorts of things. We can wear an accessory item, which is what you've got on, Jane, which is just creating that break between your black and your white. Or we can do things like have a scarf. So I've got a beautiful silk scarf here, which are actually
lovely.
So, for a woman, she can just put if she had a white shirt, she could just put a beautiful silk scarf around her neck, and that creates a little bit of interest. It's a very simple accessory item. It doesn't make a noise, and it's non-distracting. So that adds another element. So you can have your standard online wardrobe or online outfit, for example, which might be a really nice comfortable skirt or pair of pants and a really nice crisp white shirt, and you can change it up with putting a different scarf around it every day, so it just gives a little bit of variety. The other thing that's really important, I think, is to make sure you're groomed well when you go online. Make sure you've actually styled your hair. For women, that you're wearing a bit of makeup. For gentlemen, that you've actually had a shave and you've attended to all of the little things that a camera is going to pick up on, which could be unwanted facial hair in certain places. And, you know, you could have had some orange juice before you came online, and you might have a little bit of, you know, stain of orange on the side of your mouth, or you might have a bit of food stuck in your teeth. Goodness, God forbid. But all of these things.
I have to interrupt for a moment because I've just popped into my head. I did a workshop once on presenting, and I was talking about men's facial hair, and this is a few years ago. And do you remember a long time ago, and it was, I would say about 10 years ago, it was very popular for men to have that little, I don't know what it was. Men, you can tell me. But that little fluffy bit of hair that was right under there, and it was like a little button. And I thought, what is this? And one of the gentlemen in the workshop had that. And so we were going around the room, and I said, look, I don't mean to be rude, but what is this? What is this? And he was there, and he was doing this. And his friend or his colleague who was sitting next to him said, oh, Jane, that's his think pad, because he rubs it whenever he's thinking. And I said, well, maybe for the interview, you might just want to remove it, because you can always grow it back later. But for the interview, I find it very distracting because he kept doing this with it. So it was a bit of a laugh. So gentlemen, careful of your facial hair.
Yeah, well, this is true. I mean, this is where the little grooming tools that men hide away in their bathroom drawers need to come out. Actually,
we have a comment from Guy Thornycroft, who's up at the Central Coast. He goes, this feels like how sales were sold in the 90s, when we were told to stand, not sit, for important calls, that confidence can be built in what we wear and how we look, and that confidence comes through in our voice, especially when you're standing up when doing, say, if it's a phone interview. Yes?
Totally. Thank you, Guy, for suggesting that, because it is. And, you know, that involves you getting organised in your office before you're going to take a particular call, or before you're going online for a particular meeting. Depending on, you know, what it's for, who it's with, you might prefer to stand to have that meeting. You may prefer to sit. So it's all about your preparation and practicing. There are, you know, Zoom, you can actually do a little practice run on Zoom to have a look at how you actually come across before you press the record button, or before you go live. So all of those things become important, but also how you dress. So if you're wearing something that fits you well and is appropriate for you in terms of your, you know, personal body shape and your personal colours, and, you know, how you groom yourself, then yes, you are going to be a lot more confident, because, like I said before, a camera picks up lots of different things that you don't ordinarily see when you meet someone in person. So fit, when we consider the fit of clothes, if something is not fitting you well, it will fold either horizontally or vertically. So that determines whether something is too small for you or whether it's too large for you. If it's bunching up in certain areas, there's too much fabric, it's not an overly flattering look. So you really need to think about the style of clothes you're wearing. Are you going to have your jacket buttoned up as opposed to leaving it undone? What's going to look more professional through the computer screen to the person on the other side? So this is, you know, it's no different to planning out your wardrobe for the week if under normal circumstances where you're going out to have meetings. The same online. Who are you going to be meeting online, and what is the message you want to get across, and how should you be styling yourself? And this is a great time, Jane, for people to do a little bit of research, a little bit of homework, and even touch base with me if they want to do, because doing an online session to predetermine style elements and what colours are going to work best for you online is something I can conduct very, very easily online with people. And I can also shop online for them as well too, which I was playing around with a new application on Friday, which allows me to go into any online store and be able to personally select items based on an individual's body shape and personal colours and present it to them in video format that they can then purchase and have it delivered to their door, so they're not overstepping the rules of going out for unnecessary trips. It's all done online. So this is a very exciting time for me to be able to work intimately one-on-one with someone and be able to advise them in terms of not only what they've got in their wardrobe now, but if they need another piece, I can actually go out and source it for them, but from my desk, which is amazing.
We have another guy. Guy's very busy here. Thank you, Guy, for your comments. He said we were taught that a beard was to hide something. It said you were less trustworthy, but a neat and trim beard is now so much more acceptable in corporate. I found best result in making sure hair is trimmed over my top lip. Yes, we don't want everything hanging into your top lip. When it gets a bit too long and then you get bits of food stuck in it. That's not very nice, is it? No. Thank you for that. We have Leah here as well. And Leah says, in the current climate, people gravitate towards those who show up with certainty and confidence, and how we look is still a major influencer in how others perceive us. Absolutely right, Leah. I agree with you. Oh, and Charlie Maratz is here. Hi, Charlie. Do you think men look younger when they don't have any facial hair? What do you think, Julie?
Interesting point. Look, what's behind the facial hair for a first,
What's the foundation?
In good condition? Are you hiding, look, goodness knows. I mean, it's no different to a woman. I like, put it this way, I'll talk on myself out. I like to keep my hair looking good all the time. And I can't tell you the number of times I've had women come up to me and say, oh, where do you get your hair done? And it's not about where I get my hair done. It's the fact that I take the time to make sure it's styled properly every day. And because that's just me, it's all about my self-esteem, my levels of confidence, and how I want to project myself to the world. And I think this is the essence of everything, is what is the message you want to give to the rest of the world? Where are your levels of self-esteem, and what gives you confidence every day? Because that's the overlying thing of, for every woman that I style, it's all about confidence. It's all about knowing that they look their best and they're putting their best foot forward. So getting up in the morning, having a shower, styling your hair, trimming your beard, for girls, putting some makeup on, making sure you're clean and presentable starts your day off a whole lot better than rushing to the computer screen, knowing you're only dressed from the top half up. You haven't really bothered about doing your hair or fixing yourself up. Because I know days when I get distracted and I'm still in my gym gear and I haven't got to do that until after 9 o'clock in the morning, I just feel awful. And I feel like I've wasted half the day. And I think one of the important things about being in this situation, you're just teasing.
I just thought I might just show you here, Julie. From the waist up, I am impeccable. But from the waist down, you don't know what's down there. And I happen to have my UGG boots on because my UGG boots are very comfortable. And blue jeans, guys. Look, I don't know if you can see.
Yes, you can do the jeans from the waist down.
I can do my very, very corporate presenter look here. But honestly, now you've seen my UGG boots and my blue jeans, you know the truth.
That's true.
So that's the important thing. I just wanted to mention something because Charlie talked about beards, whether you look younger without a beard or with a beard. It really does depend on what current fashions are and also your actual age. If you have a beard, if you're an older gentleman, you have a beard and it is a scraggly grandfather sort of a Father Christmas type beard, then yes, you'll look a little bit old, if it's sort of wispy and when you walk it blows in the wind. That's not so good. But if you have a very nicely trimmed beard, that actually can look quite sexy, gentlemen, all right? And that's the whole thing, isn't it? It can look really quite nice. And these days with younger men, they do, a lot of them have very nicely trimmed beards. I'm thinking back to George Michael days when he had his designer stubble, which actually looked quite nice too. But designer stubble doesn't always look good on everybody. But if you're an older gentleman and you have a beard because that's your choice, keep it nicely trimmed. And you may or may not want to color it. It just depends on how you feel. But certainly when it grows too long and bushy, that is quite aging. Wouldn't you agree, Julie?
Well, I think it brings up the whole topic of stereotypes, Jane, and it's that social conditioning as to when you see someone with that type of beard, what does that remind you of? So yes, Father Christmas, for a longer type beard, it reminds people of Father Christmas. And what do you think when you think Father Christmas? You think an aging old man, okay? When you think of short stubble, you think of George Michael, and that immediately puts you, Jane, into that zone of, oh, he's quite sexy, you know, he must be quite right. So it all depends on
young and vibrant.
About our social conditioning and what we, you know, predetermine a person to be like. But look, beards, I think nowadays are very acceptable in the business environment. You're right. It's about keeping them well trimmed and under control, and you know, and that they meet a certain level of appropriateness. Once they start to get to a point where they're distracting or they're untidy or they, you know, don't look clean, then that's when it's time to do something about it.
we have a comment from Charlie now. We all know the truth now, Jane, with a cheeky laugh. And here's a Con. Hi, so good that you're here, Con. Con has a question. What about white or grey hair? Should we be colouring our hair to overcome biases and stereotypes? You know, I reckon I'll just put my 2 cents worth in there. Then you tell us your professional opinion here. My husband has silver grey hair. But he's fit, he's quite tall, and he holds himself with very good posture, and he still looks like he's got a lot of energy. So I don't think it's a matter of whether you've got grey hair or not. It's how you hold yourself. And remember, what sort of image do you want to project to others as well? If you are a mature gentleman and you're very well groomed and you have excellent posture and your body language is very compelling and powerful, then that will overcome whether you have grey hair or not. Just be very careful. If you're going to dye your hair, I've seen men who are a little bit older and they dye their hair and it goes so solid a color that it looks like a wig, and I think that's the danger. So you're going to have it professionally done. But currently we have coronavirus lockdown, and so going to the hairdresser might not be possible. Well, it isn't really possible now, but I would suggest don't do it on your own. Go on if you're thinking about coloring your hair, because it might end up being like a very dark non-shiny sort of look, which won't be very good. Julie, what would you say?
Well, look, I've always thought that a gentleman who is starting to grey looks quite distinguished, as opposed to a woman who is starting to go grey. It's an emotional time for a woman when she starts to go grey, and it's all about that, you know, wanting to feel youthful. Some women grey very nicely, some women do not, and that depends on what season you are. So I think colouring your hair is, if it helps you feel more youthful, then definitely do it, but avoid going to the extreme where, yes, as you said, it looks like a block colour, which can actually give the wrong impression, particularly for a woman, because often they'll go completely in the wrong direction and they'll have totally the wrong colour, which then affects what colours they're wearing on their body and what makeup colours they should be wearing. So it's always wise to get professional advice as to, well, based on my skin tone, eye colour, hair colour, what is the colour I should be going? Now, being in this situation where we have to do it all ourselves, there are lots of things out there where you can actually help maintain your hair colour. And you've got a question, I can tell.
Yeah, Vanita. Vanita, hello, Vanita. She says, not only is what we wear online important for personal branding, but it also helps us create that important distinction between work and play, between workday and weekend. Yeah, absolutely right. And if you're working over the weekend and we have casual Fridays, and so sometimes being a little bit more casual is okay. But I'm thinking more for if you're going for a job interview, let's dress up a notch, even if at work most people are quite casual. For the interview, dress up just a notch, maybe just put a jacket on because it looked that tiny bit more polished. Wouldn't you agree, Julie?
Look, definitely. For a woman, the minute you put a jacket on, it takes you up a level of authority. So it also does a lot for your levels of confidence and how you see yourself as well. So the minute you take a jacket off, it actually demotes you a little bit. So definitely, if you're going for an interview, have the jacket on. Make sure you're wearing medium level contrast. Another one.
Hello, Derek. Hello, Derek. Lovely, lovely to have you. And I love your profile photo. That looks like something from The Simpsons. Derek says, having witnessed very recently myself on Zoom, then I am off to trim beard and get some hair coloring. Please don't DIY your hair coloring, Derek, because you could end up, just looking very, very dark, as if you've got a helmet on. And helmet head is not a good idea.
But there are some things you can do. I actually, whilst I was able to, made a trip down to my beauty supplier, and you can even get them from the supermarket. You can get little touch-up kits where you can actually paint it on in, the places that are appearing grey in a colour which is, you have to try and get the colour match. And there's also little sprays you can get which will help touch up colour. So hopefully, ladies, that will be something that we can use to get
this is exactly what I use, because being the ripe old age that I am of 60, I have lots of grey, which you can't really see now. And so there's root touch up. Yep. There's you can get these little kits with a little brush, and I just brush here, and it just extends that hair color for a little while. And I don't mind. Look, honestly, I'm so ancient, it doesn't matter. But I like to present myself well, because sometimes some people think, am I too old to be hired? I'm just going slightly off topic here, but it's the topic that's very close to my heart. And if you think that you're too old to be hired, you will be too old to be hired. And so the important thing is to project energy and as much vibrancy as you possibly can. Yes. And so even though I'm super old, I could have my little, what is it that usually you tend to think of very old people? They got short curly hair and it's gray, or maybe a gray rinse or a pink rinse. I'm not going to be the pink rinse brigade even when I'm 80. I'm going to carry on as I am now, I hope, with just a few more droopy jowls.
No, that's
all in the presentation. It's all in the presentation, isn't it?
It is a really valid point, Jane, that you're talking about for us more mature people who are getting into that bracket, and particularly with the amount of people who've actually unfortunately lost their jobs over the past week, and they are going to be out there looking for employment once we get past this, is present yourself as well as you can. If you feel you're looking, using those little tools that are available to you, like touching up the greys, it's not just about what other people see, it's about what it means to you as a person and how that affects your self-esteem and what you see when you look into the mirror every morning. If you're seeing a little bit more youthfulness, that's going to add a bit more spring into your step. It's going to affect your mindset, your attitude, and how you come across to the person on the other side. So I'm all for do everything you can to help yourself feel good about yourself and look the best you can, because that's going to really affect you psychologically. And colour is another thing, Jane. We were talking colour before, but colour has so many psychological impacts, not just on you, but on other people. So you can actually really be playing this up well by wearing the right colours that are going to make other people feel good as well, and make other people feel energized, and that they can relate to you and they warm to you. So a lot of the training that we've done as image professionals is all geared around this. You have another question, Mikey.
Hi, Leah. Leah, good thing. Leah goes, no pink rinse brigade. I'm with you, ladies. No. Leah, don't you dare turn up with a pink rinse ever. Okay. And Leah is we're about the same age, Leah. That's great. And Leah is a fantastic marathon runner. She is running. She's vibrant. Talk about vibrancy and great attitude. This is one mature worker who is incredible. Yes. And Guy. Okay, Guy's into this because Guy always dresses really well. And your profile photo, Guy, has you in a tie. Okay. The jacket is a good point, but the tie might seem as over formal for an online meeting. What are your thoughts? It is just a less formal environment, and the tie and jacket might look like you are trying too hard. You don't need a tie unless you need a tie. You know what I mean? Just think about the role that you're going for, because if it's a role that will require you to look very formal, then people would like to know how you actually brush up. I mean, if you scrub up pretty well, that's good. But you know what? When you go for an interview, wouldn't you agree, Julie? When you go for an interview, most people tend to dress as well as they can. And so an interviewer, when they look at you and you come in for an interview, they're going to think this is about as good as it's ever going to get, if you know what I mean. And so if you just aren't quite up to scratch, they're going to think, do you even know how to dress appropriately for the occasion? So think about the role, think about the occasion, and then what would be appropriate for that particular event. What would you add, Julie?
I totally agree, Jane. When someone's meeting you for the first time, they're going to be looking at you in totality. So it's not just about what's on your CV, it's about what they see visually, whether that's in an online forum or whether that's face-to-face. So yes, wearing the things that are going to project you in the best light, and that they can look at you and think, okay, well, this person actually really cares about their presentation, which is a reflection on how they're going to think about their work ethic as well. So really important.
Yeah, and now we have a comment from Richard Elstone. Hello, thank you for joining us today. He's responding to Guy, actually. Hi, Guy. A tie is over the top for most interviews now, but a crisp shirt and a pressed suit is vital. Yes, ironing is important. Steaming and ironing your clothes. I think one of the best investments ever that I've ever made was to get a steamer, a garment steamer, because you know sometimes you can't really press some clothes and then it goes a bit shiny and then you know you've botched it. But if you have a steamer, it just releases all of the creases. And especially if you're traveling a lot for work too and you've got important meetings, just give your clothes, you know, a quick steam when you're in the hotel room, and then you're ready to rock and roll. And I think that's quite good. Julie, what I'd like to talk about now is presenting online, because now that we know that it's important, you know, with what you wear for men and for women, and your hair and your grooming and your nails. Remember, detail too is important, right, Julie? You've got to have, you know, good nails because people might notice. It doesn't actually matter whether you've got Ugg boots or not when you're online, because they're not going to see. Although, as I showed you before, I quite like mine. Okay, so if anyone's got really good, I actually need some new Ugg boots. So if anyone's got some recommendations, let me know. I might have to go online and get some new ones. I digress. But so with a professional presentation, body language is very, very important. And what I've noticed is, because I do so much coaching and group meetings via Zoom. And in fact, last Friday I did a full day starting your own business workshop from 9 till 4. So that was really quite a long workshop, but everyone stayed engaged. So that was good. But I noticed that because when I present, I'm like this. I have different backgrounds, and sometimes it's just my home office that you see if I'm not using a green screen. But I make sure it's very neat and tidy, and there's nothing distracting behind me. Like what you see with Julie, that's excellent, because you can see some certificates. It's a nice plain wall, and there's nothing to distract you from Julie's physical presence on the screen and what she's saying. And that's really important, because if you've got, you know, your cats running around in the background and people walking back and forth or whatever it might be, people are going to be looking at, you know, that bookshelf to see, what are you reading? What sort of books have you got there? Or what a messy background? Or is that a bed, you know, behind them? Or whatever it is. So make sure you have as plain a background, unless you do have a green screen. Try and fill the screen if you can, because then people can look you in the eye. And like I'm looking at you in the eye now, I'm actually looking at the webcam, right? Which feels a bit weird if you're not used to it. But once you get used to it, it's fine. And I interviewed about 2 months ago, Alan Pease, the body language guru. So thank you, Alan, if you happen to be watching. And Alan said over video conferencing, you actually can read people's body language as well. And, that smile, when you crinkle up your nose when you're having a laugh, and you can even tell the authenticity as well. So, just let your personality come through. And I'm quite good, and I can be very formal for a while, but after a while I like to just relax a little bit and have a bit of a chat and be a bit silly, and that's just me. I'm serious when I need to be, but I'm silly when I want to be silly. And so that helps to relax other people as well. Now, the important thing is there's so many people when they're interviewing, when they're using their laptop, they have it very low. And so they're actually looking down at the screen, and here's where my droopy jowls, can be seen. So then, they're looking down at the screen. Lift your laptop up, prop it up with a few books so that your webcam is at eye level. And that way it makes it so much easier. And now it's like we're having a little coffee chat together.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. It's all about that, Jane. It's about, and it gets back to what I was talking about with preparation. If you're not sure how you're coming across, then do a trial run. Do a Zoom on yourself or with a friend and watch the replay and see what you look like on camera from the other side. And that's where the whole grooming element becomes important too, because it will pick up on little things. It will pick up on the stain on your shirt, or if something is not perfect, it will pick up on that. So, it's just something that we should all be doing. And working at home is challenging. It has its own challenges. I mean, I had to put a note on my front door just before we started this because I'm expecting deliveries, and I said, please don't ring the bell because you'll make the dog bark. I'm doing online interviews. So thinking ahead, I think of, okay, I've got to go online for half an hour or 1 hour. What are the sorts of things that can potentially be happening in my environment which might impact the way this message is going to be delivered? So you've got your presentation, your outfit right, you've groomed yourself well, you're ready to go online. You've just changed again. You've got all,
Julie, I thought I'd get some fresh air.
You've got your glasses here if you need to read something, and you're not fossicking around for things. But and also lighting. So make sure you're well lit. Ideally, you've got daylight coming in from somewhere, and then you've got some other form of lighting, so you're not creating any shadows behind you. All the sorts of things that we normally would not even have to think about, but we are in a different environment now. It's extraordinary circumstances, and if you thinking about keeping or maintaining your brand presence, then this is very, very important. And it's a great thing for us to all get used to doing, because I think online business is something which is just going to get bigger and bigger moving forward from this.
There's something that I just want to let people know is that if you want to, on Wednesday, I'm doing a free Zoom call in my Get Stuff Done accountability group on Facebook. And you can join it if you want. If you go to Facebook, Jane Career Coach, that's my business page. There's a link to join the group. And in the group, I set it up a while ago really to help people with their careers. And now it's for all goal setting. But during the coronavirus and everyone's starting to get quite worried, I used to do group Zoom meetings once a month just for free for the members of Get Stuff Done accountability group. But now I'm doing them every week. And it's to talk about anything. So if you've got any questions, feel free to join the group, and then you can register for the Zoom meeting, and then I just have them once a week. And as I say, they're completely free, and we can have a chat. And so that's on the Facebook group. And then Julie, you've got a lot of excellent information on your website too, haven't you?
Yes, but you know what? Under these circumstances, I encourage people to just shoot me a message on LinkedIn or some other way, because it's all about connecting. I mean, your hashtag Time for Global Connection, Jane, is exactly right, because you should be reaching out to people. You should be connecting with people. You should be asking questions and try and get as much professional information and advice as you can in these times. And, I'm thinking of doing exactly the same, Jane, having a weekly Zoom meeting that's open to anyone who wants to come in and just ask questions about, their personal branding or their wardrobe, or is this right for me? Or for anyone who wants to, do a quick online reconciliation of, well, what are the outfits they've got in their wardrobe that are going to be appropriate for presenting online? And just let's go through that. Let's just make sure that's all okay.
I've got some more questions. Here we go. Is there an easy, this is from Di, is there any easy way to remove items from your wardrobe that don't suit or complement you?
Yes, there is. Absolutely, there is. The first thing I would say with all of that, Di, is to actually know what your body shape is and what actually suits you and what doesn't suit you. And I have an amazing online style program, which is very inexpensive, that I can help facilitate with someone in an online Zoom call, and we're up and running. And then that will help you determine what works and what doesn't work. And then you can go through and do that wardrobe audit. And I've got some online tools you can do for that as well, and will help you do a fabulous wardrobe declutter.
And Eve Levine says, very important. Hi, Eve. Lovely to have you here. And Marlon de Cruz. He says, amazing to see you both live here helping the community. Oh, thank you, Marlon. We all do our little bit to help as we can. And also, I think I like to call it edutainment. Gillian Bullock, my partner in crime with LinkedIn Local Sydney, who happens to be the LinkedIn Ninja Down Under, we like to call things edutaining, like in our LinkedIn to Jack and Jill podcast. You should go and follow that because that's very entertaining. And we have a bit of banter, but thank you, Marlon. That was lovely. And Charles Fairley says, responding to Richard, agree. No need for a tie, I reckon. So there you go. That's Charles.
We're a long way gone from the ties now. Only in extremely formal situations, or going to the races would you see gentlemen wear ties, or in the political arena. Sometimes still in law, there are situations where ties are still appropriate.
It's the occasion. The event, what's appropriate, it's how hot it is, how cold it is,
right.
which culture you're in, what culture you're in, which country you're in. I mean, there are so many things to consider that I think it's very important to just think, okay, what is the environment? What is the culture? What image do I want to present to the world? What perception do they have of me? And if you don't know, ask people, just what is it that you see, or what is it that you think when you think of me, or what do you see when I walk in a room? How could I improve? And all of us have got aspects of us that we could improve as well, and we're constantly learning. And what I want to do is please ask you to follow the hashtag Time for Global Connection, because this is a very valuable series of LinkedIn Lives with professionals such as Julie Hyne, certified image professional and executive stylist based in Melbourne. And you come up to you go to every city in Australia, don't you?
Every city in Australia. Once things get back on track, I'll be back out there. But at the moment, it's all being done online. So if you think you can't work with me because of what's happening, think again, because there are some amazing things I can be doing for my clients online.
Yeah, Julie really is phenomenal, and it's so lovely that you've joined me today. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise. Everybody, follow Time for Global Connection, because I'm trying to create this movement to help people. And just to let you know, tomorrow at 11 a.m., I'm teaming up with a LinkedIn marketing specialist based in Singapore, and he's going to be telling us how Singapore has got it right with regard to their coronavirus initiatives, because Singapore really is doing it very, very well, and also about personal branding and marketing while you are in lockdown or self-isolating as well. So, Julie, thank you so much. Parting thoughts for us?
Stay positive. Stay positive, I think, is my parting thought. And how do you stay positive? You maintain your own self-esteem levels, which is going to give you a lot more confidence. Yes, it's hard. It's hard for everyone at the moment. But if you allow yourself to wallow and to not get up and maintain a routine and and do things the way you've always done, then it's easy to slip into bad habits, and then it makes it very, very hard to get back out of them again. So, we've all just got to stay positive and play games. I found is fabulous.
Oh, good game. Just while we're on it, is my daughters who, one lives in London, but she's visiting here with my grandson and my son-in-law, and obviously they're not going back to the UK now. They're staying here, and my daughter, who works in hospitality, and that the hospitality industry is affected all over. They put me onto an app called House Party.
Yes,
And and it links to your Facebook. And oh my goodness, what fun is that? We've been playing trivia and Pictionary and drawing and all sorts of things. So sometimes you just got to relax and have a laugh.
Yes, and reach out to people, and there's been some fabulous videos and all sorts of things being sent through Messenger over the weekend and Facebook, and it's nice to just have a laugh.
Yeah. And next week, actually, because during this self-isolation phase, a lot of people who might be suffering from anxiety and feeling the stress, your mental health is very important. And I'm going to be talking about mental health and stress management. And I'm also bringing on a mental health specialist, mental toughness specialist, Leah Zalams, who has been commenting today as well. So Leah, we'll be seeing you next week, and I'll sort out the day and the time. And it's just, well, with this Time for Global Connection series, it's just provide as much support as possible while we can. So thank you again, Julie.
Thank you very much, Jane. It's been a pleasure. And yes, let's just keep everything moving forward, I think.
Yeah. And you look impeccable.
Oh, look, these are amazing scarves, these ones. These were sent to me by a lady, lives in Castlemaine actually, but she has a whole lot of different ones in beautiful colours, and that's what I'm talking about. If you don't know what colours you're wearing, then get in touch with me, because these are a great way for you to be able to express your personality through colour and presenting online as well. So I'm really
Actually,
excited.
that's perfect for now, because when you are presenting online, you can wear a same base outfit and then just ring the changes with your scarves.
Yes.
Perfect. You should be selling the scarves, Julie. Sell the scarves online.
Oh, don't worry, we're heading in that direction. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Julie, and thank you everybody for watching and your comments as well. If you've got more comments and you're watching the replay, then put replay and in a hashtag replay, and then we will respond. So bye for now, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Have a wonderful day.